Hello. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to all the students and participants. I'm Amna from Bradford
Yes, we can
International
hear you.
Alliance. We'll be starting the session now. Now I'll hand it over to Ms. Sakshi. She'll give the introduction of the speaker and we'll formally start the webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's Elite Professional Leadership Skillshare webinar, proudly hosted by Bradford International Alliance. At Bradford, we are constantly striving to bring new and relevant knowledge to you all through the EPLSS platform. In this endeavor, we are really excited to leverage the extensive experience and contacts in algo trading and trading in general of our co-founder Sharat Kumar, who is also the CEO and co-founder of Five Swans Algo Bulls Fund. We are honored to be joined by a distinguished expert in this space, Mr. Uday Mukundumgari, co-founder of QuantIndia, a leading algorithmic trading platform. With over 2 decades of experience in global capital markets and more than 10 years of deep expertise in blockchain and crypto trading, Mr. Uday brings a wealth of knowledge in automated trading systems, futures and option strategy, and digital finance innovation. Sir, we are truly privileged to have you here with us today. Our session today focuses on a highly relevant and transformative topic, understanding blockchain and crypto beyond the buzzwords. With that, I now invite Mr. Uday to take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to be here. Can you see my screen? Is it possible to put my screen on? I'm trying to share the presentation here.
Yeah, you can share it, Uday. We'll be able to see it.
Okay. I've just shared it, but not sure if it's coming through.
Amna ji, can you pin Uday's screen as the presenting screen?
No, there should be another window on my name. Maybe you should use that one.
No, not this one. There's another one from which he's presenting.
Okay,
Please pin
sir.
that.
Yeah, on duty. Yeah. Please bear with us a minute till we get the presentation on.
So this is correct?
Yeah, I think this is the one. Are you presenting, Uday? You can't see the presentation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, I think we're all set now. Thank you. Okay, once again, welcome all. So, as I mentioned earlier, today we'll be exploring and understanding a bit of blockchain and how its technology is transforming the world we are in. So, the quick agenda that we would go through today is to understand the technology, how it works, the structure of blockchain, different applications of blockchain, and how the future opportunities and the challenges look like. This is what we'll discuss in next one and a half hour. So before I go ahead and discuss this, right, a couple of points to understand. For those who are new to the concept of blockchain, through the course of the session, there will be few words and a few jargons which will be new, and you might find them uh, you know, slightly difficult to understand. But I can assure you that if you can stick till the end of the session, you'll be more familiar with these terms and will be able to navigate the blockchain verbatim much easily. That's a point one. Next point is ask questions. We learn more through interactions. So I don't want this to be a single-sided presentation, but after every slide or a concept, feel free to raise and ask questions, and then we can discuss how to move forward from there. With that, I will ask how many. I don't know how to interact exactly on this, but how many of you know what blockchain is in this group here? Um, I don't know how to unmute if someone is willing to talk. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, one can unmute themselves if they want to talk.
Yes, sir. They can unmute
Oh.
themselves. They can raise hands.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so it'll be good to know if any of the participants are aware of what blockchain is, what crypto is. You have heard Bitcoin. So, what are your thoughts on that? Anyone? I'm sure few of you would have heard about it.
So, Uday, I have a question. I have a few different questions. Like,
Okay.
why is this even required? Especially crypto, when you said that, why is crypto and blockchain even required? There's the normal currency that works, so why is crypto even there? And is it even safe to use those things, etc.? Those are the types of questions I have.
Sure. Thanks, Sharath. I will cover those aspects in the due course. Anyone else? Okay, I see someone asking how to use it in the virtual stock market. Is that right?
Akshara Riju has raised her hand, so you can answer.
I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure about what blockchain means, but I'm guessing it has some relation to cryptocurrency. And I guess it also stores information in a certain pattern or method. I'm not sure entirely what it means, though.
Yeah. Good. That's right.
Okay, there are
It's
there are few things that have come as chat. Blockchain business for me is a virtual stock market.
okay.
Someone also said it's a 100% digital platform.
Yeah, I think good answers, and I think this group has. They're not zero. I think a lot of people have some good understanding of what this concept is. So let's get on with the session so that I will try and answer these questions. So before we try to understand the blockchain, it's very important to understand what is centralization and decentralization structures are. For instance, let's assume you want to transfer money from yourself to your friend's account with a different bank. In a typical centralized structure, the cash flow goes like this: from you to your bank, from your bank to the clearing agent, and from them to your friend's bank, and from them to your friend. In the entire flow, the main uh, agent who confirms the transaction is the central clearing bank. They are the only authority who can confirm that the transaction is complete, saying that your account has been debited and your friend's account has been credited. This is an example of a centralized structure. In a decentralized structure, the whole concept of single authority approving your transaction doesn't exist. Instead, a set of independent and anonymous nodes or computers will do that process for you. So there's no central authority, but a set of nodes and computers do the job of confirming the transaction between you and your friend. That is debiting you and crediting you. This is a decentralized structure, and the entire technology which acts or picks up the role of your clearing agent and bank and all to confirm the transaction transparently is called as blockchain. In simple terms, if it's a decentralized ledger, okay, it's a decentralized ledger that keeps track of transactions. When I say ledger, it's a book of records, right, where you uh, put all your transactions that have happened. So it's a decentralized ledger that keeps track of transactions. And where are these transactions stored? They're stored in units called as blocks. On a network, these transactions are stored in units called blocks, and these blocks are linked to one another. So a particular block is linked to a previous one and the next one. Therefore, this entire architecture is called as a blockchain. A set of blocks storing the transactional data and linked to one another is what blockchain is. It's in very simple terms. I'll just take a quick pause here. If you have any questions, you can just raise. And if you didn't understand, and if you want some more explanation on this aspect, we can do that, or we can move on to the next one. Okay, I take it as you are fine. Sorry, Shivakumar.
Yes,
Go on.
Ms. Shiva Kumar has raised
Yeah,
his hand.
yeah, I have a question here. You said this block contains its own address, data, and addresses of the previous block. Is each and
Yeah.
every block is being assigned to one particular transaction, and it covers when again the same transaction is made with the same person? Is it something linked, or how does it work?
Yeah. Hold that thought, Shivakumar. We'll cover that in next couple of slides. Thanks for
No
bringing
problem.
it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, moving on. So let's understand what are the characteristics of blockchain. As we discussed earlier, it it is the most important thing is it is a decentralized network. Okay, just a minute. I think there's some fluctuation in the network here. Apologies. I think I lost the network here. It should be fine from now onwards. So yeah, so first we talked is about the decentralization, right? And that's a central authority, but the entire confirmation process has happens with a set of nodes. Second one is the immutability. Now, it's a very important aspect of blockchain. What it means is once a transaction is committed and confirmed on chain, it cannot be altered or deleted. That means it keeps the transactions recorded forever on blockchain. Let me help you with a small example here. In the previous example, when you send a transaction or funds from your account to your friend's account, multiple things could go wrong, right? It could be you might send it to a wrong individual, a wrong amount, on wrong date. So all these things are possible. In a centralized structure, when such error happens, it is possible to just amend that transaction. Not necessarily they do it, but it is possible. Whereas on blockchain, that is completely out of question. Once a transaction is committed, it's there forever. And to reverse it, you have to put up another transaction which does it, but you cannot at any cost, or you cannot do or amend that transaction. That immutability brings a lot of transparency. Ishad, to your question, why should we trust blockchain? Because everything is transparent. Unlike our conventional banking system where we used to have, you know, 15, 20 years back, a passbook where every record is written and it's very personal to you. and others can't see it. Whereas on blockchain, every transaction, every detail is open and is visible on the public ledger. Not that they know the names of the individuals between whom the transaction happens, but the occurrence of the transaction is very, very transparent. So with the transparency comes a great amount of trust. Now people can easily believe because, okay, this particular transaction has happened between A and B parties, which was confirmed by a set of computers on network, which are independent and anonymous. That's the kind of uh, trust and accountability that is brought into the system using the blockchain. And more importantly, the security, right? The confirmation doesn't just happen, as we see in the next few slides, how the structure of blockchain enables that all these aspects are weaved perfectly into one single infrastructure. So next is how the blockchain works. Okay. Um, please pay attention here because this is the crux of the blockchain, and it answers quite a few questions that others have raised on the chat, as well as what Mr. Shiva Kumar asked a little while back. So every blockchain has aspects like a header. You know, header is where the hash, the value block is identified on, and
Sir, we can't hear you. Can you please repeat this again? Your voice was cut.
okay, can you hear me better now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now we can hear
Can you
you.
hear me now? Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, sorry, I didn't know. First is the first important component is the header. Header has the hash of the block or the address of the block, which is a unique identifier for that block on chain. Next component is the address of the previous block, or the hash of the previous block. This links this particular block with the previous block. As we discussed, it's a chain, right? In a chain, unless you're linked to the previous block, uh, we can't relate to where in the blockchain this particular block exists. So the previous block address component helps to identify what is the previous block. And then the timestamp. Whenever a block is confirmed, it has an associated time and the date when it was confirmed. Now, this is very important to identify the audit trail of when a particular block has been confirmed in the history of chain. Um, Before we proceed, so far it's clear, I guess. The header, which has the hash of the block, the previous block hash component, and the timestamp. Next is the nonce. Okay, nonce means number used once for that particular block. Nonce is a random number generated by the block on blockchain. This random number at the time of confirmation of the block is combined with the hashing algorithm. Hashing algorithm is what defines the logic which the blockchain has to use. When this nonce is combined with the hashing algorithm, transforms into something called as hash of the block or address of the block, which sits in the header. I'll repeat once again. Nonce is a random number produced by the blockchain at the time of confirmation of a block, which when combined with the hashing algorithm gives the hash of the block, which is also called as the address of the block. And once that is done, that particular block is confirmed, meaning all the transactions that were part of the block, like any kind of transfer that has happened between multiple parties, if we deem them as transactions, are confirmed only when the nonce is correct and the hashing value is correct together to form the address of the block which sits in the header. I'll take a pause here and see if it makes sense to you all, or if you have any questions.
So what is hashing? Just I heard.
Yeah, hashing is the process through which the blockchain algorithm generates a key. Remember, we are talking about cryptography, right? What is cryptography? A particular data is encoded and decoded based on a specific string of characters. Okay, that string of character is called as hash. And every blockchain has different techniques and methods to produce those hashes. And those hashes are nothing but the cryptographic keys which can lock and unlock to see the contents or data associated with that block. Okay, that's what hashing means. When you say have produced a hash, that means you have produced a code which can unlock and lock that particular data set.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So after nonce, we have another component called as Merkle root, okay, or the hash tree of that block. It's very important because blockchain has enormous amount of data because of the transactions it does through the entire phase of that chain. So it's not practically possible to go to each and every block and validate the integrity of data. So what blockchains have developed is have a Merkle root or a hash tree component, which is nothing but data structure within the block, which can help you to easily identify the integrity of the data. So one doesn't have to go through the entire uh, node and entire block to understand the root, but looking at the Merkle root, they can easily confirm if the data associated with this chain is in its state of integrity or not.
So
Sorry,
Mr.
someone has
Ansari
raised the
has
hand.
raised his hand.
Yes, please.
Can you
Okay.
repeat the circle root once again? The voice was breaking up.
Okay. Is it better now? Can you hear me fine now?
Yes,
We
sir.
can. I think in between we lost you when you were speaking out Merkle root, so you might want to repeat Merkle root again, Uday.
Okay, sure. So, as we are discussing, there are quite a few uh, transactions that go into the blockchain, right? Every block has multiple transactions. So the number of transactions associated with a block and chain are quite high. So practically, it's not possible to check each and every block for the integrity of the data. So what blockchains adopt is a concept called as Merkle root or the hash tree. This is a data structure which helps to identify the integrity of the data of a block. So when this is checked, if the Merkle root is accurate, then that means that the integrity of the transactions in that block and the data associated with that block is also correct. So it's typically to save time, at the same time ensure the data associated with the block is correct. That's what the Merkle root is used for. Okay, is that clear? I think yes. So, and then the transactions, right? There'll be number of transactions. In a block, there could be several hundreds of transactions also, depending on the frequency of those transactions and how quickly within that block confirmation period the transactions were how active they were. So this is the broad structure of the blockchain. But let's go through how this works in a practical sense on the Bitcoin. Okay, so that you get a fair idea of how Bitcoin is a blockchain, by the way. I know you all know it is a cryptocurrency, but it's a blockchain first, and then it has become a cryptocurrency. So let's apply the same structure of how a Bitcoin is mined. That will get us much more clarity. This is how it works. As we discussed, first is it has the hash or the information of the previous block, the version which keeps it current version, and then you have Merkle root, which is checked to ensure the integrity of the data, the timestamp. Um, some of the blockchains do have other components also, like Bitcoin has a bits component, which tells about the difficulty level, right? If you're not aware, the hashing, the ability to hash compounds every 4 year for Bitcoin. So it becomes more difficult. The difficulty doubles to mine a Bitcoin every 4 years. And the data associated with it is stored in something called as bits. And then the nonce. So if the nonce is produced, then that is combined with the SHA-256, which is a hashing algorithm for Bitcoin blockchain to produce a hash, which is the address of the block. So if the nonce and the SHA-256 output are combined, and it is able to crack the cryptographic code of a block on the chain, then it produces a Bitcoin. This entire process is called as mining in some terms, but in short, that's what it is. So one common problem a lot of us will face once we start using uh, blockchain is our transactions get dropped from the chain or they don't get through. Remember, it's typically because the nonce that your block is producing is not correct. Either it is duplicated or it is already used. In such cases, a transaction that you try to do on the blockchain doesn't go through and falls from the chain. Okay. So this is how a typical Bitcoin block hashing works. Just to recap, hashing is nothing but the process of generating a cryptographic code which can unlock that particular block. And when it combined with nonce, confirms that block, and the block is awarded to the mining computer. Is it clear? Was it audible? Okay, I think it has this. So moving on, can we discuss this quickly of how the blocks are and all? I will move to the next point, which is the another key aspect of blockchain, which is called as a consensus mechanism. I repeated a couple of times so far in the session that a set of nodes or computers, anonymous as well as independent computers, work together to confirm a transaction. Now, for any set of computers in a network to confirm the same thing as accurate, there has to be a logic. There has to be a doctrine on which they have to agree on, or else it doesn't make sense. If I'm saying, okay, I agree to this transaction, I confirm this transaction, and there are several other computers which are saying, I confirm this transaction, what is the logic under which they're agreeing is called as consensus mechanism. Okay, so in simple terms, it's a process through which the nodes confirm transactions, okay, on a blockchain. What is the method? What is the logic through which the transaction is confirmed or a block is mined is called as consensus mechanism. They confirm the state of the ledger on the blockchain. So without consensus mechanism, no blockchain can exist. It's not possible for a blockchain to perform without the appropriate consensus mechanism. And it holds key for the integrity of that blockchain. Okay. So if anyone says, okay, what is the logic through which a blockchain works? That's a consensus mechanism. The structure of the blockchain helps you to enable that. But how is the blockchain operating? The consensus mechanism defines that. We'll understand a little bit more shortly. So there are two major consensus mechanisms. They're called as proof of work and proof of stake. Okay. In proof of work, let me just take your next slide. I think this will help you understand better. The proof of work, or some people call it as mining also, which you have heard quite a few times. In the proof of work, the blockchain throws a block puzzle into the network for various computers or nodes to work on. So these computers or nodes deploy extensive computing resources and algorithms and logic to solve that puzzle. Okay, the puzzle which is given by the blockchain, these resources work to solve that puzzle. And once that puzzle is solved by any of these nodes, they publish the result onto blockchain saying that, hey, I got solution for this. This is the solution for this, and I'm able to crack the puzzle. And all other nodes approve that transaction, saying that, yeah, we agreed that you got the right combination or right key to unlock this block. And therefore, they will award that particular block to the user who has cracked it. Since there's a lot of work, like computational work, hashing out goes on to that, it's called as proof of work consensus. Just that Bitcoin is a perfect example of proof of work. The other consensus mechanism is called as proof of stake. Here, there's no work or there's no mining. Rather, the nodes already have staked the native coin of the blockchain. So they own that coin already and they take the responsibility of confirming the transaction. And for doing so, they get rewards. Now, as you deep dive into the blockchain, you will get to know that this reward is usually called as gas to confirm a transaction, because they are the sole key protectors or guardians of the network to ensure the accuracy of the transactions. They will be rewarded for the effort they put. This is called as proof of stake consensus. Primarily, there could be a lot. Consensus itself is a very big subject and a very intriguing subject, but majority of the blockchains fall under these two categories. For example, your Ethereum is a perfect example of proof of stake. I'll just take a pause here and see if there are any questions.
Sir, Mr. Sharad sir has raised his hand.
Okay. I think it's a sign to go on.
It's a sign to go on. Maybe, Uday, if you can help correlate to some of these things which most of us understand in the current day real world, it will be a bit more easier.
Okay. So let me go on to the applications. I think there we can give the real life example and then relate it to how it operates with respect to this consensus. Okay. Or also let me just give an example, right? Going back to our own transfer of funds concept, right? As I said, there was one central authority which was confirming the transaction between ourselves and the counterparty or our friend who was receiving the funds. In a typical POS, proof of stake consensus mechanism, that transaction alone will be confirmed by multiple parties, not just one. They'll ensure, because they'll ensure that you have that amount to transfer and the counterparty's address is correct of what you have input. So these are the POS validators. and they are responsible to ensure that the transaction is correct and the blockchain is working appropriately. Okay, as we go to the application, we learn more about that.
So, Uday, if I can ask a question, or can you confirm my understanding? So, in a
Yes,
typical
please.
banking transaction, I have a bank account, and I want to transfer money from my bank account to your bank account. Let's say uh, the bank my account is in, it has to ensure that the money is there in my bank account. Only when there is a money in that bank account, the bank will allow me to transfer. And when the money goes into your account, it goes through those different steps that you said, and it's now there in your bank account. But everything is done by those two banks and actually the clearing member, clearing agent,
Correct.
the clearing corporation.
Yeah.
What you are saying here is how is this transaction in cryptos different compared to that mechanism? Maybe you can elaborate a bit more. What I understood is, firstly, it's not a central bank or something. There are different people who are first confirming and ensuring that when I want to transfer the money, I do have the money. In the first place, and then second, I am the valid owner of the account in which the money is there, and then they also help in the confirmation that once I transfer, it is reached you. So how is this whole thing different? Maybe you can clarify.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for bringing that up here. So just replicate the same situation, but remove those bank clearing and bank in between. So what happens is, once I initiate a transaction saying that debit my account I'm saying on blockchain. Okay, on blockchain, this is how it works. I tell the blockchain, debit my account and credit this amount to the other address. Just the address. I just need address, nothing else. Once this transaction is there, okay, this comes onto the uh, blockchain, and blockchain broadcasts, it gives out this transaction saying that Sharath wants to debit his account and credit to Uday's account, which is so and so. And it broadcasts this transaction for different nodes, which are the participants in the network, right? The node participants. And every node, we don't know to whom it goes, right? It's broadcasted. A node picks that up. Once it picks that transaction, they know. They will check, because it's a public ledger, they can check what's the balance on Sharath. They check whether Sharath does really have that much amount or not. Okay, the first node which has picked, they check, does Sharath have this amount? It's called as allowance in blockchain terms. Does Sharath have allowance to even pay this money? If it is yes, then say, okay, does the account that he's saying is a valid blockchain account? It says yes. Then that node confirms it. Similarly, not just one node, right? There are multiple nodes. Depending on the blockchain, each blockchain expects a different number of validators to approve the transaction, and independently. So every node checks the same thing. Does Sharath have uh, allowance to spend, and is the end account valid? And they confirm independently. This is what the proof of stake validators do. Because there's no central authority, a group of nodes do this entire process of confirming the transaction. And once they all confirm, the transaction gets printed onto the blocks transaction segment, and the block is confirmed on the blockchain. Okay, that's how it works. I think once I go through and subsequent slides, it becomes more clear. So as of now, just assume that when in a proof of stake model, when a transaction happens, it's confirmed by multiple nodes. Only then the transaction is confirmed. Just one node doesn't help. It has to be done by multiple nodes. Okay, next comes the smart contracts, right? Let me give a small example here, assuming most of us will understand foreign exchange transactions. So let's assume a foreign exchange transaction, which is an over-the-counter foreign exchange transaction, where we sell dollars and buy Japanese yen from a counterparty. So on a given date at a given rate, right? So typically in the conventional uh, foreign exchange transactions, on the value date, what we call as the day of transaction or settlement, we send dollars to that counterparty with whom we had that agreement, and they will send us yen. That's what we agreed, right? But it could go wrong in multiple ways, correct? Starting from, we could have given. I mean, let me ask you all, if anyone can say, what are the possible ways this transaction can go wrong when you're sending dollars to the counterparty and receiving yen, Japanese yen from them? Uh, do you know where all this particular transaction could go wrong in the traditional markets? Just type or raise or I just want to understand. Do you understand the risk that is associated with the simple transaction? Did you get my question?
So what we understand is that as long as there is IBAN number and peculiar account number, so there is no risk of going different ways. This is what we understand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, if you have that IBAN, it's possible that you could have entered the IBAN wrongly. That's one possibility. You could have entered the value date, the settlement date wrongly. Uh, you would have paid, but it's possible that the counterparty might not pay you. And there's a typical counterparty risk, right? It's possible that you have done your part correctly, but the counterparty did not. They did not honor the contract. So the clearly counterparty risk involved there. So what blockchain does is it has brought up the smart contracts concept, where this entire transaction is coded and put into the blockchain. That makes it very, very easy to execute the transaction. Sorry. So this entire process of you paying to them, counterparty, and counterparty paying to you, if a specific set of conditions are met, is automated. And the way it is automated on blockchain is called as smart contract process. This is actually a code which can be written in different languages like Rust or Solidity, and this is the crux of the blockchain in the current world. Uh, Most of the blockchains have the ability to write smart contracts, which make these transactions very, very smooth and automated because there's no manual intervention. There's no risk of that being not executed or delivered. And as it is on the blockchain, everyone can see what the contract is. And there's a lot of transparency and trust associated with the smart contracts. It's a very efficient method of engaging two parties with a set of obligations from each side. That's the beauty of smart contracts. Very, very important concept in the blockchain today. Okay. Um, Moving on, the next important concept we all should be aware of is the wallet. It's a blockchain wallet. So every blockchain has a concept called as wallet, where the users or the address on the blockchain can store their digital assets. Now, some of you might call them as crypto assets and all. So a wallet is a provision that is offered by the blockchain for all of its users. A wallet is identified by two things. One is the public address, which everyone can see, and if someone wants to send assets or money or crypto coins to you on a blockchain, they should know the public address. It's called as public key also, visible to all, and this is where the transaction can be seen on the blockchain. And second is the private key. Private key is like a key to your locker. This should not be shared with anyone. because your key is your money. If you keep the key on the table and if it falls in someone else's hand, they own the locker. You don't, right? Similarly, private key is like a most secure thing that you should store it in such a place that it is not accessible for anyone. Because if someone gets the public key of your wallet, then your money is as good as gone. Please keep in mind. And I just take caution when you use blockchain and its wallets, right? Never share your seed phrase or private key with anyone. Distinguish between public key and private key, and give only public key when you want accounts to be transferred to your account, but not the private key. If you give private key, your funds are gone. Nothing can, because as I said earlier, it's immutable. Once anyone gets hold of your private key and they make a transaction of moving funds from your wallet, then gone. It's irreversible. So ensure that your private key is safe. There are multiple types of ledgers, wallets, hard wallets and paper wallets. Hard wallets are something called uh, ledger or the trezor, where the wallet is offline. It is not connected to the network. It will be like your pen drive, where you can store your assets and keep it and store it off the network. So it's the most secured way of storing your cryptocurrencies. If you don't transact or if you don't intend to transact every day, keep it off the chain and keep it offline and off the network, and use hard wallets for that. Paper wallets are the web extensions. You know, uh, they are web extensions which will fall on your Chrome, your Brave browsers, and they can be downloaded from a secured parties. To they work as interface to the blockchain, right? Once you have a paper wallet, then you can transact with the blockchain through them, and they're safe to use as long as you don't share your private key. Uh, is that clear, the wallet concept? Because this is very important. If you want to start using a blockchain, you must have a wallet. Without a wallet, it's not possible to use the blockchain. And depending on the blockchain, you can go and download it from the website only. Don't download it from any link that comes to your WhatsApp or Facebook. To download any wallet, go to that corresponding website, and only there you can download that wallet. Any questions on wallets?
Yeah, sir. Just can I ask question? The wallet means
Sure.
the exchange?
No, wallet is not the exchange. Exchange might give you provision to a wallet, okay, but there are a lot of wallets which are not exchanges. On So let me put it this way: wallet like is your purse. It's a proper wallet in real definition also. It's your purse. It's your locker. Uh, you might have that on exchange or off exchange also on blockchain itself. So if you're asking about any centralized exchange, right? They provide you a wallet and they provide you address. But wallet itself is what out of exchange too.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you
Yeah.
have sample for web extensions? Like,
Yeah, you have plenty. You have a Trust Wallet, you have MetaMask. Depending on the blockchain, the web extensions change. For example, if you want to use Ethereum-based blockchain, you can use MetaMask. For Solana kind of a blockchain, this Phantom. You want something, you use a different, there's Kepler and there's many. I mean, I can quote tens of wallets, but that depends on the blockchain that you want to use. But most common ones are what I just said: MetaMask, Rabby, Phantom, Trust Wallet. Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Let's bring all this together now. Now that we understood how this happens, I just explained this a little while back. Now I think it becomes more clear. So when you request a transaction, that is to send money from your account to your friend's account, from your wallet using your private key, You need a private key to confirm the transaction in your wallet, saying that, okay, I have this much money, I want this to be sent to my friend. That block is picked and created as a transaction on the chain. And that block is sent to every node to approve. And all these nodes see whether that sending address has an appropriate elements to be able to use, and is the primary key that they have given is associated with that wallet. They do all these checks, and then they validate the transaction for which they get a fee paid. Once the transaction goes, they receive the reward, and the block is confirmed and added to the blockchain, and the transaction is complete. This is how the flow works. Okay, you initiate a transaction from your wallet for a specific amount. It goes as a transaction, gets broadcast onto the network. Different nodes validate the transaction depending on that consensus mechanism. It gets approved, a block is created and added to the chain, and the transaction is complete. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next and most interesting aspect is application. Now that you've heard, right, what is the blockchain, how it's structured, and what are the benefits, can you can you share your thoughts on which are the segments or areas where this can be used? Whatever comes to your, what do you think, and in the area that you're working or you're learning, can you share where this blockchain can be used and how?
Share markets,
Okay, share markets, yeah, trading online, yes,
Trading,
trading, okay,
crypto.
crypto, yeah, crypto trading, okay. Anywhere else?
Logistics.
Logistics, yeah.
Land registrations.
And very good. Land registrations. Well, I think all of you are correct, and many more areas. So let's quickly go through what are the current applications of blockchain, where it is extensively used these days. To begin with, cryptocurrencies. Okay, someone said that, right? Very, very important. Again, this comes from the concept of uh, store of value, correct? Because there is strong mechanism to confirm of what it is. There is transparency, there is trust, there's immutability. There's a big use case of cryptocurrencies here. Reason being, there's authenticity to the transaction. Okay, there's no double spending because there are multiple people looking at the transaction. So it's believed that the value associated with that particular currency is given. It's not wrong, it's not false, it's not fraud. Therefore, cryptocurrencies has evolved as one of the major application and use cases of blockchain. In that, the front runner is Bitcoin. I'm sure all of us would have heard or know about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has become a great store of value given its limited supply, given its transparency in the transactions, and the immutability and the consensus it follows to mine a coin. It has become the best asset of this decade, at least. And uh, the other coins like Litecoin, Monero, Zcash, which are typical cryptocurrencies which are used extensively for payments. People believe that the way and the speed at which these cryptocurrencies can be exchanged on a blockchain is far effective and better than some of the traditional cash transactions or asset transfers. So you're right, as you all said, cryptocurrency is one of the biggest application of blockchain. And second one is decentralized finance. Okay. Let me try to quickly explain you what this is and how this particular concept of blockchain is really transforming the finance world. And I need some participation here. I'm going to ask you some questions, and it'll be, if one of you can volunteer to help me navigate, it'll be great. I want to go through a typical example of lending and borrowing in traditional markets. Can someone tell me what is the process of lending, borrowing, and how long it will take? What is the process of lending or borrowing? If you want to borrow something from your bank, what is the process now?
I think you have to have a guarantee, like, for example, here the guarantee is the job, the salary.
Yeah,
But back
correct.
home countries is like a home or car or something like that.
Yeah, correct. So you have to put collateral, right? That's what you're saying. You have to put collateral. First of all, you have to select the bank from which you want to take the loan, and then you have to put the right collateral. Then the bank will verify your credit worthiness. They'll see how much you are eligible, and they process the documentation that you give. So overall, how many days you think this will take? How much time will it take?
Depend on the banks. Sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. Depend on the banks. Sometimes 2 months.
Yeah, correct. Rightly said. So what if I say that on decentralized finance, if you once you put up the collateral, you can borrow in 30 seconds. Yes, I'm right.
30
30,
seconds.
yeah,
This is
30 seconds is what it takes.
a super service.
Yes. So that's what decentralized finance is. It brings a lot of operational efficiency because you deposit the collateral that you have. Let's say any of the cryptocurrencies. Let me, in this example, take Bitcoin. You put Bitcoin and you can pull out 85% of that value as loan in next 30 seconds. That's a world, that's a pace with which the decentralized works, and the trillions of dollars moved in that space today. Why? Because it is extremely streamlined and extremely efficient because of the smart contracts.
Yeah. So,
Hey, Sharad.
Uday, but I have a question.
Yeah.
If I do not have the crypto, okay, and I have my house, like today when I'm taking loan,
Yeah.
I am actually putting my home as a collateral, or car or land or something else that the other gentleman said. Okay.
Yeah.
And today, if I wanted to if I in the current world also, loan would have been very easy. If I was not giving my house as collateral, I would have basically said, okay, I have this much dollars in my bank account, or take these many dollars from me and give me a loan. Then that process would have been very fast, even in the today's banking world as well. So how that problem of converting has been solved from my physical assets into the decentralized world?
Yeah. So great question, Sharad. This we are slightly heading from the decentralized finance to real world assets. Okay. So now there are quite a few protocols which can also tokenize a real world asset like your house or in complex apartment, your gold reserves, whatever real world asset you can give, right? So there are platforms which can tokenize your real world asset, take that as a collateral. For that you have to uh, do some amount of documentation, and then upfront be part of that particular blockchain to be able to take loan from them. And since we have not reached the stage of giving it to what you call retail customers, this particular aspect that you just described is confined with the corporates and institutional investors. Okay, it has not reached the masses yet. It's not too far. The day is not too far, but a lot of institutional investors use this feature of tokenizing their assets, real world assets. It could be their bonds, it could be their government securities or gold or real estate, and from there they can lend those assets as collateral and borrow. So that's the key word I would use there is that tokenization of your real world asset, because everything is built on smart contracts. There is uh, hardly any problem in giving you the amount you want. The beauty is in this kind of a setup, the lenders, unlike the conventional banking, where that the risk of default and the creditors and not the debtors not paying the fund back, that doesn't exist in the decentralized finance. Because beyond a point, if the collateral value is fallen, the loan gets liquidated automatically, and the creditors are secure. To your point, is it happening at all levels? Not yet. The retail segment is still not privileged with that kind of a thing, but institutional investors are. Okay.
Thank you. But so what I'm getting from what you said is with the technology of blockchain and some of the things that are already there, over time, some of these things should become very much possible.
Yeah, currently because of the legal, I'll say lack of clarity in the legal terms, it has not been brought to the retail side. The technology infrastructure, the what you say, the backbone is there already, but it's
Yeah.
not being offered as service to the retail because of the clarity that is required on the legal side. I think as soon as it emerges, right, it will be served for all, not too far.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a very big subject by itself. Okay, decentralized finance. It poses a big challenge to a lot of conventional finance systems because of the ease of use and the clarity and the transparency it brings. In the interest of time, I will quickly move on to the other applications like supply chain management. You know, again, transparency, right? A lot of people who are sending their original product, starting from Cuban cigar to Italian wine to a specific Kalankari sari from India. They want to ensure that the end customer gets an unadulterated and pure version of the product. So what they do is they make it tamper proof by recording that particular code and transaction to blockchain, and only the end user can unlock it to get that final product. Just a simple example from a product standpoint, but it applies to entire logistical chain. If you're exporting, importing, starting from bill of lading to your carrier invoice, everything is now uh, being put onto blockchain because it removes a lot of intermediaries, a lot of the centralized bodies which are there just to confirm a transaction goes out because it happens between two parties with a set of nodes confirming this for them with a big stamp of trust as it happens on chain. So supply chain management is a very big segment that's getting transformed because of blockchain. Then the real estate, right? Uh, there are multiple. Now I just told about tokenization. There are enormous advantages of using blockchain, starting from tokenization, fragmenting a particular real world asset into multiple usable fractions to bring up liquidity across the world, to be able to serve any specific return from a real estate and distribute it to thousands of people in a right way. Blockchain is transforming the real estate quite significantly. And there are quite a few protocols which have come in the last 1 year, which are exclusively focused on real estate. And markets like Dubai, London, and New York are showing more interest towards applying blockchain in real estate and taking their ventures on blockchain because of the transparency, ease of use, and the smart contracts make the entire transaction so easy. It's really helpful for in this segment, and even the legal you know, guidelines on how to convert a particular asset into a tokenized asset are bringing more clarity. So this is definitely a sector to watch for. And if you want to become a blockchain developer or a user, this is one area which will really thrive in the coming days. Um, Healthcare, I mean, I know it didn't come up in our conversation, but yeah, the kind of privacy it brings, where people can keep their health records, data safe and secure, blockchain comes on top of the list. Now, how do you manage the patient data, uh, your X-rays, your diagnosis reports, everything can go on to blockchain and will be visible to only people and the doctors and experts who should get that view, unlike that being floated across the multiple units and departments. So in nascent stage, it's called as like how DeFi is called. It's called SCIFI, scientific, decentralization. It will be quite important. It's still evolving. It's not the at a place where the DeFi or cryptocurrencies or real estate is, but definitely an area where blockchain can be applied extensively. So I'll take a pause here and see if there are any questions in how the blockchain is applied or applications of blockchain. I'm sure there are a lot of questions. As I said, each one of these applications is an extensive topic, and there are different ways to uh, study them, be a developer, or use them to make money or get passive income. It's up to us of how deep we want to go into these subjects. Okay. So challenges. You know, First thing is the scalability, right? Even to Sharad's points also earlier, are we there yet? Can we scale to the extent of the traditional finance or Web2 interfaces? I don't think we are there yet, because if you go to Visa card does, millions of transactions per second. Have the blockchain reached that kind of throughput to be able to confirm millions of transactions per second? No, not there. There's still some way to go, because there are bottlenecks, right? Like multiple nodes confirming a transaction. But yeah, scalability is a challenge that it has to overcome. The next is the energy consumption. You have to believe that you know the amount of energy it takes every day to run Bitcoin can run an entire country like Norway or Sweden. That's the amount of power Bitcoin consumes for its transactions in a day. A nation consumes that kind of power. So proof of work consensus protocols are extremely energy consuming protocols. And there is a notion that from an environmentalist that it is impacting because of the heat generated, because of the noise it generates. There is an optimization that has to happen from the proof of work consensus, because they use extremely heavy machines, very high speed processing engines to confirm and mine the tokens. Yeah, that's in my view, scalability is the biggest bottleneck, followed by energy. Apart from that, there's no limitation from a technology standpoint as such, but there are issues from regulatory and legal standpoint. There's still no clarity on how these cryptocurrencies or blockchain assets should be treated as. Should we treat them as foreign exchange? Should we treat them as commodities, or are they securities like stocks? There's still no clarity. There's no one rule which says that, okay, this belongs to this segment. And quite a few blockchains like, Ripple, Solana, Ethereum, they're still having their own legal battles with the regulators to get clarity on what they are called as. And recent times there have been quite a few changes in the regulatory landscape, again pioneered by US by bringing some of the legislation which brings this clarity and improves the adoption of the cryptocurrencies, and it has been doing really good work for the larger adoption. Um, Again, as I said, legal recognition. See, since this is decentralized, this we don't know where the networks and nodes are which confirm the transaction. So, what is the purview? Is it confirmed by Dubai, Singapore, New York? Who's confirming? Under which jurisdiction does this confirmation fall? That clarity is still not there, and sometimes people hesitate to enter because of this kind of a vagueness, and that's stopping the mass adoption of blockchain, in my view. So as you get more laws, more clarity, uh, regulatory oversight, it's a matter of time when blockchain will be massively adopted, and everything will be so transparent and clear. So quickly going on to the other challenges, interoperability in blockchain. As I said, there are hundreds of blockchains now, not one or two. Bitcoin, Ethereum are the two ones that I've used, but there are hundreds. But can they operate among themselves? Can I move a particular asset in one chain to another chain? Um, yeah, I mean, that's a big question mark. It's there today for a set of chains, but across any chain, anytime, any asset, that's something which is being worked on. The second is the user experience. You know, because of the complexity of the transactions that goes behind, the user experience is still not the best. You know, some of the protocols are the best, but there is some way we can't use it at the same ease as we use the Web2 applications. So definitely, you know, a lot of blockchains are putting and a lot of apps, applications are putting effort on giving a better user experience, and how they integrate with the AI. And there's the next leg here, because these two being the most emerging technologies, the blockchain integration with AI will be at a different level, and you know, Internet of Things to ensure the transparency across. So yeah, I mean, quite interesting times ahead in my view. So it all starts from understanding it, securing your funds properly, and using it. That brings to the end of the session. And okay, I take it as there are no more
There was a
questions.
question, Uday,
Yeah,
on give us the list of blockchains.
list of blockchains. Oof. You want? I mean, there are many. I mean, you can. I'll just say 10, if that is fine. If you want to note that down. So yeah, you can write them down like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, Arbitrum, Avalanche. You're there. You're getting this.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Avalanche, Solana.
Arbitrum, Plume, Bera Chain, Injective, SUI,
Yeah.
SEI. I mean, the
I
list will
guess,
go on.
I guess we can send some link later on to the participants.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. There are a lot. I mean, depending on what you want to use blockchain for. Okay, for example, if you want to use for DeFi, decentralized finance, there are a set of blockchains. If you want to use for real world assets, they are different. If you want to just trade, trade meme coins, there's a different blockchain. If you want to, accumulate value, there's a different blockchain. So there are many blockchains that are in existence.
So Mr. Amir Rashid has raised his hand.
Yes, please.
Hi, Uday. Could you please explain about Bitcoin mining? Is it connected? How does it work?
So I'll take you to this slide, right? This is how the Bitcoin mining works. This is a typical example of Bitcoin mining that I told in the very beginning. Yeah, this is how it works. The POW mining, if you see on the screen to the left, okay, what happens is regularly the Bitcoin blockchain throws a block or a block puzzle to the participants. That block puzzle means it's a block someone has to crack the code for. It's a cryptographic code. So all these participants or the computers, if you have a Bitcoin mining computer, you will get that puzzle and you have to solve that puzzle. How do you solve a puzzle is you need to get a string of data which can fit into that particular problem, okay, which and then it will solve it. So to get that string, you have to use computational resources. You have to use a SHA-256 algorithm to begin with, and trying, keep attempting with the different strings if you can unlock that particular block. This is once you unlock that block or that coin will be awarded to you. This is the process of mining. So when you say mine, it will be a set of computers or a computer with a high computational power with very high intensity processor which will calculate a string which can unlock that puzzle. Once you unlock, that will become you, and this process is mining. You have to demonstrate that you have worked on that and you have solved that puzzle, and then you'll get that Bitcoin on your account. And this process is called as Bitcoin mining.
So does it work automated or you have to do some
No,
process or?
it is totally automated, depending on the system, your computer, right? You can't just mine it on your normal computer. You need to have a special gig or a rig for that to be able to do we can't do that manually, at least now. Perhaps when it started you could have 10, 11 years back, but now it's not possible to manually mine a Bitcoin. It has to be an automated process.
Okay, so so once you hit that block, so it will really can give you a reward or it can make a block.
Yeah, once you no, it'll
Then you
immediately
can.
once you solve that puzzle, right, that
Mhm.
Bitcoin will be awarded to you immediately. There'll not be any delay.
Then you
But the
can.
process of solving that puzzle will take time.
Okay. Then it will. Then after that you can cash into your wallet, convert.
Absolutely. Yeah. Once you're awarded with that Bitcoin, then it's your asset. And because the primary key is yours, then you can do whatever you want. You can transfer to others, you can sell it, your choice. That's yours.
How you will know the value of that block once you crack that?
You just understand the amount of electricity you have spent to mine that. Currently, just the electricity and the processing power that you used cost you close to $88,000 to produce or to solve one puzzle or one block. That's a real amount that you have spent. And that's the value of the Bitcoin today, right? That's the base value of a Bitcoin. So it really takes, it's not a fictional value, it's not an arbitrary value. It takes close to 88 to 89,000 to mine a Bitcoin. So to crack that block puzzle that I mentioned there on the slide, it takes $88,000. That's the amount of electricity, your processing capacity, your processing rigs that you have to use to mine one Bitcoin.
So
Thanks.
there's another question, that is, what are the main benefits of Bitcoin by any king?
Yeah, I mean, so this is it's more of an economic question. The biggest benefit is the value, correct? Let me ask you, what are the biggest benefits of gold, as an example? Correct? It's a store of value. People believe that gold is a precious metal. It's limited in supply, and therefore the value of it is bound to go up. Same is the case with Bitcoin. The number of Bitcoins that can be mined is only 21 million, and more than 60% of it is already mined. So whatever is the value of Bitcoin that is going to hold, as I said, if I'm spending $88,000 to mine a Bitcoin, why would I sell for anything less? So Bitcoin has evolved as a great store of value. That's why price is on a higher path. I'm not saying it will be there always. This is by no means a financial insight into what it is, but why people believe Bitcoin is of that value is because it takes so much to mine it. and it is limited in supply. It is available anywhere, and people are exchanging it. They are buying different goods with it, depending on the availability. So, if you ask me what is the one base uh, benefit of Bitcoin, I would say it has emerged in the recent times as a great store of value, just like gold. Good. Any more questions?
Yeah, sir. There is one application for mining now for the new currency called PI. Do you have any idea about it?
I'm sure there are a lot of applications through which we can mine, but one thing I would say is be careful of what it is. I don't know the specific one that you just mentioned to me, but there'll be a lot of people who come up with this, mining equipment, mining infrastructure to mine proof of work tokens. Work with diligence. I'm not saying everything is wrong, but we have to do our due diligence. This area is so vast. Just to give you an insight, right? Every day there will be thousands uh, of tokens that get launched every day. So it's practically not possible to, keep track of everything. So whatever comes your way, do a due diligence. Apply the learnings that you have to say whether it's genuine or not. Can something be like this? Challenge, because if it is easy and if it can be done by all, then by now everyone would be doing it, right? So I don't know the specific application that you talked. There are plenty, um, but yeah, be careful when you spend money on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, a question. I just wanted to know,
Yeah.
like 5 or 10 years back, where was the position? Is it now progressing? And next, in another 10, 15 years, is it going to be more advanced and more? How is the progress? Is it fast or is it? Because I just heard like 5 years back, and I'm not hearing about it.
About which one? Sorry, about the blockchain.
About the blockchain, Bitcoin mainly.
I mean, the value speaks for itself, right? 10 years back, the value of Bitcoin was $2,000. Today, it is almost nearing $110,000. Okay, so I would not say that it has gone down. The adoption has increased significantly um, compared to 10 years back. I mean, I would say the adoption will go up because it's an extremely powerful technology. It eases a lot of burden and operational efficiency and brings a lot of income and improves the overall profitability of any firm who deploys blockchain. And of course, Bitcoin is a part of it. I'm saying in general, entire blockchain technology usage is only going to increase from here on. I don't see any reason why it will be here or it will come down. It's only going to increase multifold. We are still very new. It has just started. Okay, the real applications have just started 3-4 years back, and we are understanding and learning about it at the right time. So, in my view, the real game is ahead.
Yeah, and if
Thank
I may
you.
share some more thoughts adding to what Uday said, is there are two aspects to what we spoke today, right? There's blockchain and there's application of blockchain, especially in the context of cryptos. And I think people use those two things very interchangeably and they think that blockchain is crypto only. But actually, there are two aspects to the thing. Blockchain as a technology and its applications, few of them which Uday mentioned during the call, is a very powerful thing. So the technology is very powerful. It can be implemented in solving a lot of real world problems, which we have touched very little now. And I think that's where the real power of the technology is. Also coming to the crypto as well as a currency, again, it's too early, but with a lot of changes that are happening in the world, be it geopolitical, be it user behavior, the way we are all looking at currency, all of those behaviors are changing significantly compared to even 10, 15 years back. The trust networks are also changing, right? Someone asked earlier in the chat is how can we trust Bitcoin? At the end of the day, today we trust a currency also because of the fact that there is a government backing it or something like that. Now those trust networks are changing. Younger people have a very different trust network. So all of these changes that are happening in the world also mean that the world of money and currency itself is going to change. So I think the technology as blockchain in itself is very transformative, will be applied on many other use cases. And crypto as a currency, whether it's going to be Bitcoin or not, we'll get to know 10 years later. But a digital currency, a new way of looking at currency is surely already happening as we speak. And Uday and I are involved in the trading and wealth management space. Maybe 5 years back, we did not take any of these things too seriously from a wealth management perspective. Now, we both take it pretty seriously, even in generating wealth for our clients. So I think it's a big thing. And as Uday said, we are only in the early stages of this thing.
So Kemi has raised his hand, please.
Hello. Actually, my question is that does AI will affected by crypto, or because nowadays the AI is moving so forward, and as Mr. Kumar says before that a lot of changes has been done in the technology. So does it will be affected by AI or no? Just my question is that, please.
Yeah, but these two technologies are complementary. Okay, one aids the other. They're not competing; they're complementing each other. And for example, as Ishara just mentioned, my day job is to use AI to create algorithms, and we use extensive AI on the blockchain and cryptocurrencies to trade. So it has a huge impact. AI has huge impact on blockchain, and blockchain has huge impact on AI, and they go hand in hand. So very powerful technologies, which will shape the future from here on.
As an example, right, we spoke earlier about consensus and all of those things. Now, can AI be used to make those consensus mechanisms even better, faster, smarter? Maybe. We don't know. But all of those are absolutely possible.
Yeah, true.
And then we spoke about like supply chain was a use case for blockchain. There's a lot of efficiency people are trying to bring in with AI in the supply chain. And if the whole underlying infrastructure of supply chain moves into into blockchain, and then you apply AI on top of it, then it could become even more powerful and efficient. These are all things that are going to be constantly evolving, I guess.
Yeah, very true. There's a lot. I mean, sky's the limit. If AI and crypto can come together, what we can achieve is immense.
Any other questions?
No, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So again, before we call off, I just wanted to say a few things. Is today's topic, we just tried to touch some aspects of blockchain or even crypto to a certain extent. But the idea was to at least touch it and bring it up with you guys, depending on what type of interest all of you have. We can, as Bradford, we can actually do a lot more detailed, broader, deeper, any type of courses that you need in understanding the new evolving technologies like blockchain. So do come back to our team on any things that you would like to know more of or learn more about, and we'll be happy to come up with very specific certified courses or webinars or whatever. So please do come back to our team with whatever your requirements are, and we will be happy to facilitate them.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Amna, you want to close it?
A heartfelt thank you to all the participants who joined us for today's Elite Professional Leadership Skillshare webinar on understanding blockchain and crypto beyond the buzzwords. We're especially grateful to Mr. Uday for sharing his deep insights and to Mr. Sharat Kumar for his continued leadership and vision. Your presence and engagement made this session a truly meaningful success. Thank you once again from Team BIE.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
To all.
Thank you, all the participants. Thank you for being there. Goodbye.